I'm Brendan Coyle. I'm one of the lecturers in Criminology in the School of Applied Social and Policy Sciences, and I'm one of the co-module coordinators for Critical Perspectives on Punishment. It's one of the modules on the Criminology and Criminal Justice Master's degree that gets students to grips with this idea or the notion of punishment and what it is, how we do it and why we do it. And what the module requires us to do, us as teachers as well as the students involved in the module, is to think critically about this notion of punishment. Where it resides, what is it, how does it kind of shape our day-to-day existence, not just people in contact with the justice system, but also everyone in their day-to-day lives encounters punishment and discipline and control in various different ways. So we want to think about how it shapes our lives and also how we shape punishment, especially in the criminal justice system. So that's kind of the core, what's at the heart of the module. And we do that in a variety of different ways. So we think about, for example, the psychology of public punitiveness, where our ideas about punishment come from, why there's a public drive towards certain forms of punishment over others. We think about how punishment maybe resides in places where you don't expect it to. For example, do the police engage in punishment? Is there punishment involved in processes of rehabilitation? And maybe is there punishment in things like migration and immigration in terms of how it's controlled and managed? So we like to draw in a lot of contemporary debates to try and texture that core question of what punishment is to really help make sense of it as best as possible and give students a chance to really get to grips with it in an applied way and draw on kind of real world examples to make sense of what can be quite an abstract idea and quite an abstract concept. In terms of the module's assessment, how we try to kind of measure progress in some respect on the module, it looks on paper quite traditional. So we have two assessment points. One is a standard essay style question, but what it does is it asks us to chew on a particular idea or a particular quotation or question that maybe we've been trying to wrestle with over the course of the module to really get a sense of students' perspective on the idea. So we look for kind of reflective input on that and how they've applied their learning to trying to make sense of some of these more weighty issues. The second one then is more explicitly applied. It's a presentation assessment where students address a problem that we've considered at some point over the course of the module. So whether that's a problem around policing or rehabilitation or crimigration as we call it, and how do you solve it? What's your take on how to address this issue? There's no easy answers, but that's kind of the whole purpose, is to see students think creatively then about how do you address some of these issues that we've raised and discussed. So in that sense, even though the module is very heavily rooted in philosophy and sociology and psychology, and of course criminology in loads of different ways, there's loads of soft skills being developed in there around critical thinking, reading, but also engaging in very open debate and open dialogue in our workshops and in our sessions. Because these are very sensitive issues, they often involve a lot of heavy-duty gut instincts around punishment and how it should look and how it does look. And so we lean into that. We want students to engage in that kind of open, respectful dialogue with one another to come to that collective understanding of how some of these things kind of shape our day-to-day existence and shape the day-to-day existence of people in the justice system as well. The module is a team-taught module. Myself and two other colleagues work together and have worked together in terms of the design of the module as well. What that means is that all the students have ready access to 3 members of the team rather than just one, and we get to know the students really well over the course of our sessions. Part of that is because of the nature of doing a master's degree. I think there's more of an expectation around using your voice maybe in a way that isn't quite as expected perhaps in an undergraduate degree. So we hope and we expect, and all of us as a collective, including the students, expect that we'll do a little bit of legwork before coming in, so that when we come into the workshop, when we come onto the campus, we make full use of that time to engage in discussion, to engage in debate, to chew through issues that people have encountered in the reading. So in doing that, we stop it from becoming an overly isolated experience, because sometimes your studies can feel quite isolating. You get lost down a rabbit hole of confusion around a particular idea or concept. So we get to share those ideas with each other, we get to engage in that discussion. Hopefully that gives a kind of added value or added benefit for all the students engaged in the module.